Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. Raised fist medium dark skin tone. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. Hashtag a Kingsport reckoning. The sun was dipping low over Kingsport, Tennessee, gilding the quiet neighborhood streets in a honeyed light. Marcus Thorne navigated his sleek black sedan through familiar blocks, the soft murmur of jazz a soothing soundtrack to his thoughts. He had just finished a long day of community meetings, pastors, organizers, and neighborhood leaders gathering to repair the broken trust between law enforcement and the people. It had been a tough but hopeful day. Marcus believed in reform, and more importantly, he believed in leading it. His thoughts drifted to the scent of his wife's lasagna, probably already in the oven, the warmth of their kitchen, the safety of home. Then came the red and blue. The patrol lights flashed behind him without warning, and his chest tightened with a conditioned reflex that came with experience and skin color. He glanced at his speedometer. 32 in a 40 zone. Tail lights worked. No infractions. But still, he pulled over slowly, hazard lights blinking, every movement practiced. Hands on the wheel, eyes forward, calm, controlled. The flashlight beam hit his face before the officer even spoke. The cop approached with hard steps and a harder glare. "In a hurry tonight, huh?" he said with a smirk. "No, sir. Just heading home." Marcus responded evenly. The cop ignored him, sweeping the car's interior with suspicion. Behind the cruiser, another officer leaned on the trunk, his hand resting near his weapon. License and registration. Came the order, sharp and commanding. Marcus moved slowly, narrating every motion. "I'm reaching for my glove compartment now. Here's my license." His voice was calm, but the air was electric. "Do you know why you were stopped?" the officer asked, then answered himself, swerving into the oncoming lane. Marcus furrowed his brow. "I didn't swerve. I have a dash cam that'll confirm that." The words dash cam triggered something. "That'll be confiscated." The cop snapped. "Out of the car now." Marcus hesitated, then carefully unbuckled and stepped out. Before he could stand straight, the second officer grabbed him and shoved him onto the hood. "Is this really necessary?" Marcus asked, his cheek pressed to the cold metal, his voice still resisting the rising panic. "Perfect." The cop sneered, locking the cuffs around his wrists. No matter how compliant, how respectful, he was still guilty in their eyes. Not because of anything he'd done, but because of who he was, or who they assumed he was. The patrol car door slammed behind him, a cold verdict. As they pulled away, Marcus glimpsed neighbors behind curtains, silent, watching. The cops laughed in the front seat. "What's your story, huh?" one asked of the rearview mirror. "Dealer? Stolen vehicle? Just trying to act slick?" Marcus met his gaze. "I'm just trying to get home." The other officer chuckled. "They all say that." Marcus closed his eyes, inhaled deeply. This wasn't the time to lose control. It was the time to think, to survive. The car turned, but not toward the nearest precinct. His eyes opened. "Where are you taking me?" Silence. "I know my rights," he said, his voice firmer. "You're required to inform me of where I'm being taken." The driver scoffed. "You don't get to ask questions." Marcus's pulse quickened. Something was off. This wasn't just profiling. It felt like a setup. Then the driver muttered, almost to himself, "Another arrogant one. Always got something to prove." They pulled into a dark, closed warehouse near the train tracks. No cameras, no lights. Marcus's breath caught. This wasn't standard protocol. "You planning to book me or bury me?" he asked, unable to stop the words. The officer stepped out, one circling the back door slowly. Marcus's fingers tightened into fists, cupped behind his back. But even restrained, he was calculating, alert. They didn't know who he was. Not yet, but they were about to find out. The ride to the precinct was short, but for Marcus Thorne, each moment dragged like a stone across the skin. The siren had stopped, but the sense of being criminalized hadn't. Every red light felt like another barrier between him and justice. Once inside, he was pulled roughly from the car. Officer Fields yanked the cuffs off without meeting his eyes. Officer Barrett grinned. "Welcome to our kingdom, buddy. Get comfortable." Marcus didn't respond. His wrist throbbed, but the deeper pain was a deliberate humiliation. They led him down a hallway drenched in cold fluorescent light. The scent of bleach and stale coffee mixed with sweat. The detention cell was a steel box, bare bench, metal toilet, concrete walls. The door clanged shut. From a desk nearby, Fields leafed through his documents. "Nothing yet," he muttered, clearly disappointed. "His kind always got skeletons," Barrett replied. "You just have to shake hard enough." Marcus heard every word. Still, he said nothing. His breathing was calm, his back remained straight, but inside, his mind was documenting everything like a seasoned detective. Time passed slowly. Other officers wandered through the area, barely looking his way. Not a single one recognized him. 2 weeks ago, he had been sworn in as Kingsport's new chief of police. Now, he was a suspect in his own department. He didn't tell them who he was. Not yet, because what they didn't know was exposing something far more valuable. Fields and Barrett joked with Pete at the front desk, their laughter forced, tinged with arrogance. The sharp, controlled echo of heels announced her before she appeared. Lieutenant Anna Sharma entered the precinct with quiet authority. Mid-40s, fit, sharp-eyed. She had 15 years on the force and a reputation for being incorruptible. She looked over the logbook and frowned. "Who's in holding cell?" Fields straightened up. "Some guy we pulled for reckless driving. Got combative." "Proof of evidence?" she asked. "We were just about to process it." She narrowed her gaze. "Was he breathalyzed?" "Dashcam." "Nope, not yet." Sharma stared at them, her lips pressed tight. She turned and walked toward the cells. Marcus looked up as she approached. Her eyes briefly scanned him before narrowing. Something about him didn't fit the narrative. "Sir," she said, "do you understand why you're being held?" Marcus stood slowly. His poise was impeccable. "I was stopped for reckless driving. I denied it. I informed the officers I have dash cam footage." Sharma paused. "You didn't mention that." "They didn't ask." She turned back. "Fields, Barrett, review that footage. Now." 10 minutes passed. When she returned, tablet in hand, her expression had changed. "Mr. Thorne." She began slowly. "The footage shows no erratic driving. You signaled, maintained speed. You were compliant throughout, and the audio confirms misconduct." Marcus gave a slight nod, not of surprise, but of affirmation. "I'm ordering your immediate release." He stepped closer to the bars, but didn't walk out. "Lieutenant, I'll need the names of every officer involved and access logs." "I assumed the cameras in this station were functioning." Sharma blinked. "Yes, of course. You'll have what you need." Then he reached into his wallet and passed her a card. Her eyes scanned it. "Marcus Thorne, Chief of Police, Kingsport PD." Sharma's expression stiffened. She swallowed. "They didn't run your ID." "They never even asked," Marcus replied. Silence lingered. Sharma turned and stormed toward her office. "Fields, in my office now. Barrett, stand by for suspension." The weight began to shift. Marcus stepped from his cell, rolling his wrists. As he exited the precinct lobby, officers glanced up, stunned. A few turned away, ashamed. Outside, the air felt different. He looked up at the early dawn sky, the same color as steel. Fitting. That morning, he didn't go home. He went straight to City Hall. By noon, an emergency meeting had been called. Department heads, legal counsel, and the mayor sat in a tension-filled room. Marcus presented the footage, the audio, the station logs. The silence afterward was crushing. When he finished, he turned to the mayor. "This wasn't just about 2 officers," he said. "It's about a culture that allows men with badges to ignore the law because they assume their victim won't be heard." The mayor leaned forward. "What will you propose?" "Immediate suspension of Fields and Barrett, mandatory retraining across all patrol units, and an independent civilian oversight board with teeth." There was hesitation. Marcus met the room's gaze without flinching. "I go public." After a pause, the mayor nodded slowly. "We'll do it." Marcus stood. Then maybe, just maybe, we start changing something. Outside City Hall, a crowd had gathered, rumors having spread. Cameras flashed. A reporter stepped forward. Chief Thorne, care to comment on the incident last night? Marcus adjusted his collar. I was pulled over, wrongfully arrested and mistreated, but I'm still standing, and I will make sure no one else has to go through it. Then he walked off, not as a victim, but as a man who turned a moment of injustice into the first spark of a revolution.